3 really scary true pet sitting horror stories. Story 1, The Whispering Parrot. Our first story comes from Ashley, a college student hired to watch a neighbor's African gray parrot. Max was known for mimicking voices and loved to chat, but Ashley quickly realized he was repeating things he shouldn't know. Ashley sits on the couch, scrolling on her phone. Max squawks from his perch. Max, parrot, in a low, gruff voice. "Help me, don't let him in." She laughed at first, assuming it was a joke. But the phrases became stranger. "Max, parrot. He's here. He's watching." Ashley glances out the window, uneasily. She shuts the blinds and locks the door. Later that night, she heard heavy footsteps upstairs. She was alone, or so she thought. Ashley grabs a kitchen knife, her hands shaking. She tiptoes upstairs, finding an empty hallway. There was no one there. But Max's cage was now open, and he was perched on the banister, staring at her. "Max, parrot, hissing. Run, Ashley. Run." The lights flicker, and a shadowy figure crosses behind her. Ashley bolts out of the house, leaving Max behind. To this day, Ashley swears she wasn't alone that night. She refused to pet sit again, and Max was later rehomed. 4th, behavioral issues. Story 2, The Basement Door. EXT, rural farmhouse, dusk. Our second story comes from Derek, a high school senior hired to watch a dog named Buster at a remote farmhouse. His instructions were simple: feed Buster and keep the basement door locked. But Derek made a mistake that would haunt him forever. Derek arrives, tossing a tennis ball for Buster in the yard. Inside, the house is old and creaky, with dim lighting. The basement door stands out, covered in heavy locks. He was curious, but the owners warned him not to open the door. They said Buster got anxious around it. At night, Buster growls at the basement door, whining and pawing at it. Derek listens, hearing faint scratching from the other side. Derek, to himself. Probably just mice. Curiosity got the better of him. One night, Derek unlocked the door and peered down the stairs. The camera follows Derek as he shines a flashlight into the darkness. The scratching stops. There was nothing there, until he felt Buster's fur bristle at his side. The dog growled, staring into the blackness. Suddenly, the door slams shut, and Derek hears heavy footsteps racing up the stairs from below. He bolts, locking the door behind him. Derek spent the rest of the night barricaded in the living room. He left the next morning, shaken. The owners later told him the basement had been sealed for years, after a family member disappeared down there. Story 3, The Late Night Caller. Int. City apartment, night. Our final story comes from Jenna, a college student who agreed to watch her friend's cat, Milo, in a downtown apartment. But what started as a quiet weekend turned into her worst nightmare. Jenna feeds Milo, who hisses at the front door. She shrugs it off, thinking it's just city noise. Later, she hears her phone buzz. Then, her phone rang. The caller ID was her own number. Jenna stares at her phone, heart pounding. She answers hesitantly, but there's only heavy breathing on the other end. Voice, phone, whispering. "I see you." She looks out the window, seeing nothing. Milo begins to hiss again, staring into the darkened hallway. Jenna locked herself in the bedroom, clutching Milo, but the calls didn't stop. The police traced the number but found no records. The next morning, she discovered her friend's door chain had been broken. A flashback shows someone standing in the hallway, watching Jenna through the cracked door. The police believed someone had been in the apartment the whole time. To this day, Jenna refuses to pet sit or even stay alone overnight. Oh you Turo. The screen cuts to the narrator sitting in a dimly lit room with a pet bed in the corner. Whether it's animals sensing the unseen, old houses hiding dark secrets, or the dangers of being alone, these stories remind us, pet sitting isn't always as innocent as it seems. If you've ever had a chilling experience while watching someone's beloved pets, let us know in the comments. And remember, stay safe, and keep the lights on. The screen fades to black with a faint sound of a dog growling and claws clicking on a hardwood floor.